Hello and welcome to a new edition of Africa Today. In this special edition of our program, we will talk about the press conference which took place early in the day between Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati and his Lebanese counterpart Abdallah Abu Habib in Cairo on Tuesday. Following the talks between the two foreign ministers, they held a press conference where they both stressed on the need to evade a widening of conflict in the Middle East. More in this report.
Between Egypt and Lebanon over various regional and international issues. He was speaking at a joint press conference with visiting Lebanese Foreign Minister Abdallah Abu Habib following their talks in Cairo on Tuesday. He said the talks also discussed bilateral ties. Abdelati reiterated support for the sovereignty and unity of Lebanon and stressed full rejection and condemnation to any attack on Lebanese lands. He called upon the international community, the US and the EU, to shoulder their responsibility to put an end to the escalation of violence in the region. He also stressed that the UNRWA has a vital and historical role in the Palestinian territories. Abdelati said the continuous Israeli escalations will lead to an expansion of the scope of the war. For his part, the Lebanese foreign minister praised Cairo's backing of Lebanon's sovereignty and unity. He said the Lebanese government is making contacts with all parties and coordinating efforts to stop an escalation of the conflict in the region. He also said the latest Israeli escalation is hindering efforts to achieve peace and security in the Middle East. Abu Habib said the Israeli practices aim to extend the duration of the war.
And the cruise ship rescued 77 migrants found overnight in a sailboat in distress far off the southwestern coast of Greece and was transporting them to the nearest major port. The Coast Guard said a passing Maltese flagged cargo ship found the boat 12 nautical miles southwest of the town of Pylos in the early hours of Tuesday. Details follow.
In an operation coordinated by Greece's Search and Rescue Authority, all 77 people who were on board a sailboat off the southwestern coast of Greece were picked up by a cruise ship sailing in the area and were being transported to the southern Greek port town of Kalamata. There were no reports of any people missing. No information was immediately available on the nationalities of those on the sailboat or where they had set off from. Greece lies on one of the most popular migration routes for people fleeing conflict and poverty in the Middle East, Africa and Asia and seeking to enter the European Union. Many attempts to make the short crossing from the Turkish coast to nearby eastern Greek islands in small dinghies. But with a crackdown on attempts to enter the country illegally, some prefer to skirt around Greece altogether and head directly to Italy in larger boats such as sailing or fishing boats, starting out either from southern Turkey or from North Africa. Last year, a massively overcrowded fishing trawler carrying an estimated 500 to 750 people sank off the coast of Pylos as it headed from Libya to Italy in one of the Mediterranean's deadliest migrant shipwrecks. Only 104 people survived the sinking of the Adriana and just over 80 bodies were recovered. The rest went down with the trawler in one of the deepest parts of the Mediterranean, making recovery efforts essentially impossible. The Greek Coast Guard came under intense criticism for its actions concerning the Adriana, which had been sailing in international waters but within Greece's area of responsibility for search and rescue operations.
And to shed more light on the press conference that took place early in the day in Cairo between Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati and his Lebanese counterpart, we are joined over the phone by Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good afternoon, Mr. Ambassador.
Good afternoon. I can't hear you well.
You can? Yes. Can you hear me like this?
Yes.
So, sir, how do you see the timing of the visit by the Lebanese Foreign Minister to Cairo?
Lebanon is one country in the heart of our foreign policy.
Yes.
Lebanon is the dearest country to us. It is a country with many parties, with many dimensions, and we are worried that Lebanon has no president since more than 2 years now. So consultation between the heads of diplomacy in the two countries is very important at this stage of our life.
Yes, Mr. Ambassador. Also, how do you weigh the flurry of diplomatic activities to try to stem violence in the Middle East, as yesterday the Turkish Foreign Minister was also visiting Cairo?
Yes, we are in a very close consultation with all our partners in the foreign policy, with the Turkish, even the Iranians. We are consulting everyone in order to keep peace in our area. We are not of the opinion of escalating the situation. So these meetings are very important, and I hope it will bring peace to the area without escalation of any war.
Yes, Mr. Ambassador, if we talk about the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Badr Abdelati, who said that there is continuous coordination between Egypt and Lebanon over various regional and international issues, how would you describe the level of ties between Egypt and Lebanon?
Very important and very strong.
Yes.
And I cannot count how many times I visited Lebanon and Beirut especially, because I feel that in Lebanon I am in my own country. Mind you that in Beirut there are 5 statues of Gamal Abdel Nasser. They look to Egypt as the big brother country, and of course our support to Lebanon is very important, and their stability is very important to us. That's why such consultation is taking place, especially with the escalation between Hezbollah and Israel, and we want to put this down a little bit and to encourage peace process, hoping that this will help the situation in Palestine and especially Gaza.
So, sir, during the joint press conference, Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati reiterated support for the sovereignty and unity of Lebanon. How is the latest development jeopardizing the sovereignty and unity of Lebanon?
Very important that it sends a message to all the parties in the world, especially our neighbor, not to attack Lebanon, because Lebanon is a very peaceful country and they want to live in peace. So escalation there is not at our aim at all. That's why Badr Abdelati is making a point to see his counterpart in Lebanon, to assure that Egypt will stand always behind the efforts in Lebanon to keep peace. And our consultation with other countries, whether Turkey was there also yesterday, I am quite sure that we are consulting everybody. And we hope that Egypt, with all its capacity as the large brother of the Arab countries, can bring peace and can stop this escalation of killing from Israel to the Palestinians and to Syria and to Lebanon. This is not acceptable to us at all.
Sir, also the Foreign Minister Abdelati called upon the international community, the United States and the European Union to shoulder their responsibility to put an end to the escalation of violence in the region. How do you see reasons for the failure of the international community to stem the cycle of war?
I know Minister Abdelati since years and years, and I know that he is a man of the details. He knows every detail of our situation. And I am quite sure I can bet on his capacity and his capability to deal with the matter. So I am rather optimistic when I see that our minister is moving. So it means that Egypt is taking the lead. And I hope, inshallah, that soon and in the near future, we shall see less and less violations. Although I am optimistic in general, but here I am less optimistic because the other party is not at all ready for a peace process.
So, sir, how do you see the weight of UNRWA in the on the Palestinian territories?
We have to thank UNRWA and the United Nations, because the United Nations system stands strongly with us and with Palestine. And UNRWA did not hide its opinion about what was happening, about killing Palestinians and killing even the members of UNRWA and the United Nations peace process members. So UNRWA is doing a very good job. We owe the Secretary General Guterres also that he came to the area several times, giving his opinion and giving his advice, and we hope this will help us in our process in order to maintain peace and stability.
Sir, for his part, the Lebanese foreign minister said the Israeli practices aim to end the duration of war. How do you see the Israeli moves with regards to attempts to reach a ceasefire?
We want to help the central government of Lebanon, and we want everybody in Lebanon to abide to the government, not to have government within the government, because there are some groups who are trying to take the scene and work on what they give as priority for themselves, rather than the priority of the country. This is the same case with the Palestinian and the Hamas. Hamas is not doing its job within the PLO. So we are encouraging all the parties to have the unity of the country, to respect it, and to respect the leadership, and to have one united Palestine, one united Lebanon, and not to divide the people there among different parties.
Observers are predicting an Iranian response in the current time. How do you see the situation?
Yes, if I were in the position to advise Iran, I would advise them not to give any reaction, because the Israeli aggression will die by itself. Israel cannot continue fighting on different fronts, because Israel is relatively a small country. It cannot give enough soldiers, officers, to fight on the Lebanese front, on the Gaza front, on the Syrian front. This is too much for a country like Israel. So if I were in the position to advise the Iranian, I would advise them not to react at all. This will solve itself by itself, because Israel cannot tolerate the situation which is Israel itself is creating.
Sir, finally, how is the escalation of the war impacting the global political and economic stages?
The whole world is in a very bad condition. We have never seen a case like that, where the Ukrainian war is its highest confrontation. While there is a sort of confrontation between China and Taipei, confrontation between United States and China, and so on. There are small wars, even I can call it trade wars. In our area, we are not happy with what is happening in Syria or Lebanon, what's happening in Iraq, what's happening in our western border with Libya, in our southern border with Sudan, Somalia, Yemen. All these countries are not in a very good case. So we have to face this. We have to do whatever it takes in order to keep peace and maintain in the position. And thank God that Egypt is a very stable country, and we are proud of our citizens who are standing behind one government and one flag.
Yes, I'd like to thank you, Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Thank you, sir, for being with us. And back to our reports from the African continent, and moving to Niger, as the U.S. military withdrew from a final base in Niger on Monday. More than a year after co-leaders in the African country demanded its troops leave. The details follow.
After nearly 800 U.S. military soldiers pulled out of a base in the Malian capital Niamey in early July, around 200 had remained at the large Agadez base in northern Niger. The Pentagon said in a joint statement with Niger's defense ministry that the withdrawal of U.S. forces and assets from Air Base 201 in Agadez is complete. It added that this effort will continue between U.S. and Nigerian armed forces over the coming weeks to ensure the full withdrawal is complete as planned. Deputy Pentagon Press Secretary Sabrina Singh told reporters that around less than 24 folks were still on the ground in Niger. She said the remaining personnel are at the U.S. Embassy and are performing administrative work in preparation for the completion of the withdrawal. Niger's Air Info News site confirmed the departure of the last American forces from Agadez. It said officers from both countries attended a handover ceremony, which ended with the taking off of the last U.S. Army plane.
And by that, dear viewers, we come to the end of our special edition of our program, Africa Today. Thank you for watching.